welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today we have something different. We are doing a gin tasting. So I'm actually not here with Horst, but I'm here with Petra. And you are a great gin connoisseur, also a great whiskey connoisseur, and you're also writing the Whisky.com news for our website. So thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. But
Hi
you're
there.
but you're not just our author for the Whisky.com news, but you also do books. So I've brought one book of you. So what is this book about?
It's a cooking book. It's a cooking book, a bit like a road trip.
Uh-huh.
A bit like a road trip through Scotland, presenting several persons of the gourmet scene, and matching recipes for Scottish food, Scottish special food, from
Specialties from Scotland.
specialties you would like to read when you hear Scotland. What would you like? Rural things, regional things.
I don't think that Scotland is known for their food, but I actually do some of the food. And when you go to Scotland, the reputation is actually worse than the food itself. Usually you think English or British food like, oh no, but it is really nice. I love haggis, and I really like to taste what is called rabbit.
Yeah, rabbit.
That sounds really nice.
Yes. Scottish food is I think it's always a bit more heavy than
Yes.
if you have a French cuisine.
Yes.
If you sit down at the table and you get your food, you won't stand up and say, okay, that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It's always enough in Scotland.
And if you don't have enough, you just take another scone and then you're full. But today is not about Scotland. So yeah, you have, as I do, you have a background of, you started with whiskey with yes. And now we got a bit into gin. I think you are a few years head start from me. So I actually did the gins. But you're gonna tell us a lot about the gins because you know a bit more about the gins. But I tried to have a bit of an overview of gins. I didn't go too far into the corners of what gin has to offer. So a bit more of a classical selection, but a few samples in all directions. I took the first one is my light and sweet one that I chose. It's the Amarula. I think it's from Africa.
Mm-hmm. It's South Africa. It's a very new one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then one that doesn't fall far from the whiskey tree. That's the Botanist 22. And then we have the Tanqueray number 10. And then in the end we have the Harris gin from the Isle of Harris. People who actually do follow Whisky.com videos, I've done actually a video about that distillery with the gin. And yeah, that is very, very nice selection. So the direction of the sequence of what we're trying, I actually copied it from whiskey. So I went from lightest and sweetest to more of the heavy stuff. What do you do in your tastings?
I think I would leave this until the end.
Okay.
And say, okay, and now we have something sweet as a dessert. But you are right. This is a very light one, a fruity one. You can have it as a starter. It's not that sweet that you should say, okay, you can't taste it. And afterwards have a not sweetened one.
Yeah.
No, that's absolute okay to have this first.
Yeah. It's the sequence of tasting gin. I don't think it's as strict as with whiskey. If you have like a really peated, smoky whiskey, you can't have that before, let's say, Glenmorangie. If you have an Ardbeg Glenmorangie tasting, the sequence is always Glenmorangie, then Ardbeg.
Yeah, you have no phenols here. It's nothing that covers your palate and stays there for hours.
So it's not as
that's
strict. You can do it that way around. You could do it the other way around. It doesn't matter. I think the idea, you came from the idea of like from the food scene, with where you said dessert in the end, sweet in the end, and for me it was like, okay, I don't know anything about the sequence. Let's just do it like whiskey.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, so.
Amarula.
And we'll have it with the tonics, but you say something to the tonics afterwards.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, let me introduce the tonics. So with the tonics, for everybody who actually got onto Whisky.com, who is from the Netherlands, we actually sold packs of all the whiskeys, like in a big pack where you got 2 tonics of each tonic, and in a small pack where you had little miniatures inside that box, and just 1 bottle of tonic. And for the tonics, we have our cooperation partner is Mistelhain. They have a bit of a different philosophy of tonics. Usually the tonics are really they're known as Indian tonics, where they have a lot of what's it called, chinin, that really bitter stuff in it. And that's where the tonic comes from. The high chinin was preventative for malaria, against the mosquitoes, and they don't go that route. They don't go the route where you say you go less of the bitter. You just want to complement the gin. So this is a tonic that is not as a medicine of you want to intake of chinin, but you want to have a complement to a nice gin. And not just the classical gins, but all the gins. Because a very classical gin that has a lot of juniper in it, that can handle Indian tonic and give a nice combination. Whereas we have a lot of gins that don't just go into the juniper direction, but into a lot of botanicals directions. So the 3 tonics are the Ambition, which is a lighter one with a citrus touch and makes it lighter, sweeter, citrusy. The second one is the Signature, which goes more into a spicy aroma and a heftier aroma, a strong aroma. And the last one is the Trend, the pink one, that makes it a little bit like fruity berries, sweeter. I've talked to the producers, and they said that's a little bit of the wild card. When you don't know what to put in, just take the Trend. It just makes it funny. Okay, yeah, enough about tonic.
The gins. So, you'll start with the Amarula.
Amarula. Okay, so we have the Marula fruit. Have you tried it?
No, not yet.
Me neither.
Not yet. Not pure. It's a fruit that's well known in South Africa. That the trees that have those fruits on it, they always are visited by elephants because they love these fruits, and if they can smell that it's time that the marula fruits will fall down, they go there, and so you have to be quick if you want to make Amarula gin.
Yeah, and I think the Amarula fruits are then a little bit fermented, and all the jungle creatures are like, oh, let's get drunk.
But it's I think it's a fruit that's a bit like I think apricot or something like that. I
have no idea. I have no idea, but I guess so. And they say it's very sweet. That's actually why I chose it. I want to have a very sweet one. You have obviously juniper berries, orange blossom, grains of paradise, and orange peel. Yeah, so that is the Amarula African Gin. So it's an African gin. It's it doesn't say dry gin, but yeah. Let's judge by the taste.
Hi.
Oh. We're actually having it a second time. We had it before in German. So, but I think I get the same impression as the first time. It's a
fruity, a little sweety, very soft in the nose.
I didn't expect so much orange and so much citrus in it. I would have expected more of a sugary, sweet pineapple note in it. I would have expected that, but
no, I think there are no exotic fruits in it. It's more orange. Is orange exotic?
Depends. It depends. Well, kind of, but not that exotic. You get orange juice everywhere. But yes, you do have a distinct orange note.
I think it's orange. It's very in the foreground with the juniper. You have the juniper here. It's not that dominant as you have it in other classic gins we'll taste afterwards, but it is there.
Yeah, it has the orange is like the forefront, and when you try to get in the background, you do have some round, sweet, I don't know, mango. The thing is, it would be really nice. We should really try to get some of the marula fruit at some point. Probably you can't really get it in Europe.
Somebody of you can help us.
If somebody from South Africa would be in the chat, that would be really great. Write something in the chat how actually marula fruit tastes like. But from overall, it's a light, sweet start.
Yeah, smooth. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. That's what I'm always amazed about gin, that how they get the gin so round. I started actually not with premium gin. This is a premium gin. I started with like supermarket gin, and they have these sharp edges, and here you just taste it. It's round, it's sweet. You can concentrate on the flavors that are existent within the botanicals and the fruit inside that gin. That is just amazing, and it's just I think it's really pleasant to drink, and this is already like my 9th sip if you include all the tonics as well. So this is a bit dangerous because it just asked me to have another sip.
I think this is what I get on the palate. It's the same as I had in the nose. So it's a gin that doesn't promise anything. It doesn't present you. It's a fruity, smooth, light sweet gin. But it's still gin. You have the herbs, you have the juniper. So it's not something you wouldn't call a gin. It is a gin with a dominance of the orange. I would say orange. Maybe marula.
Marula has maybe like an orange feeling.
It's like orange, yes.
Yeah, it's nice, but you do feel the orange is in the forefront. You do feel you have more in it as well, like other flavors. What I find interesting is from when we tried it as the first time and now as a second time, the pepperiness, that spiciness, really didn't kick in for me that much this time.
Yeah, I think you're getting used to spirits.
Yes, maybe because we had so much other gins before that, and now the spiciness is just in comparison to what we had before, not as dominant. So maybe the sequence does have a matter.
So I'd like to see what it does.
So what did you have before?
I had.
I think we both had the ambition.
The ambition. So let's try
Let's try. Let's do new
The
ones.
other one,
Let's do new ones.
signature. It's called signature, I think.
You want to have the signature?
I want to have a gin.
Gin. I always want to serve the tonic first, and that's not the right way around.
Thank you.
Oh, I need some ice as well. Ice second.
So it's up to you which tonic you want to try. Perhaps I've got some more glasses than we have, so you can try the Amarula with 2 or 3 different tonics. Feel free.
And I actually promised that because I'm not quite sure. Before I had the ambition, the light one, the citrusy one, and I'm not quite sure what to use with the Amarula. For me, the Amarula is a bit of a wild card. So this time I'm actually trying the Trent one.
So this is for the hard boys.
The hard boys with the berries.
A sweet gin tonic.
A sweet gin tonic. So, cheers. Ooh. So what did it do for you?
I think this is better for me.
Mm-hmm.
The signature, I like the one with the signature better than with the other one, because the citrus notes you have in the other one,
Mm-hmm.
they give it a very how you call it, a very heavy sweetness, and the citrus is too dominant.
Mhm.
You take it with the ambitious. It's too ambitious with the ambitious.
Too ambitious for
Too ambitious with the ambitious. So I think I like it with a signature.
So I have the one that gives it a lot of sweetness and berries, and it feels like you have orange. You have a velvety glove that rubs berries and oranges all around your mouth. Is a potpourri of sweetness, berries, fruits, oranges. This is like a fruit punch that has gone off, but still looks is really tasty.
I think it's
Not fruit punch.
it's a good combination. I think for springtime now. You got strawberries on your cake, so you have berries in your gin tonic. That's okay.
I think this is a fruit party in my mouth. It's really. This is really, really fruity. But I love it. If you like it sweet and fruity, this is amazing. This is so fruity. This is really, really fruity. Wow.
I think this keeps this signature. It keeps the character.
Oh, I
of the
did the
Amarula.
trend. The berries one. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You got
No,
this.
here with the signature. I think I have those aromas, the character of the Amarula, and the signature is it doesn't want to be the partner in the gin and tonic. It says the gin is important, and the tonic is in the background.
Mm-hmm. The question is a little bit here. Is it good gin to be mixed in a tonic? If you like it sweet, definitely. Definitely, if you like your gin tonic, a light gin tonic, that it doesn't give you like a classical gin tonic where you have the strength of the juniper and the bitterness of the tonic. It's far away from that, I would say, with the Amarula.
It's you don't have to mix it with tonic.
Mm-hmm.
You can combine it with other things. Here with a prosecco, a champagne, or maybe have a a cocktail with it, and pair it with, let's say, or I have another. What about another filler? Have a grapefruit lemonade with it.
I think in the bartender scene it would be a really nice thing, because it has that night fruit that fruitiness that is not inside a fruit juice, because a fruit juice has a different kind of fruitiness than a fruity spirit. So I think in like a mixing in terms of other fillers, it would be a really nice thing. Yeah. So but the Amarula is an South African gin. I've actually got to know a South African guy who told me about how gin is done in South Africa. In Europe, I think the definition, correct me if I'm wrong, now we got the definition, is 37.5% alcohol. And the dominant flavor has to be juniper. And I think, is there anything else?
You have to start with a
neutral
spirit
Yeah.
of a 96%
Alcohol, yeah.
alcohol.
And for the South African one, they have a bit different laws. They actually do have to have the juniper within the still. Whereas in Europe, you can actually make a bathtub gin where you just take juniper, put it into neutral alcohol, soak it a bit, and that's your gin. Yeah, so with South African gin, you actually do have to have the juniper within the still. I'm not quite sure if it has to be with... It can be above the alcohol, the liquid level, but I'm not quite sure if it has to be above the alcohol level. But yeah, South Africa is a bit different with their gins.
But
Yeah.
I think it's a very nice one to if you want to relax. If it's you're sitting outside in your garden, sun is shining. Don't want to think anything.
It can be a gin that you sip, or it can be a side gin that you just have on your side and you don't concentrate on it. Yeah. So what I think nice is when you have the Amarula gin, it's also they also give €1 per liter sold to the Amarula Trust. You heard a different story about that. From you, it was like.
It's a pound,
A pound.
1 pound.
Yeah, I
it's-
think they're just
Do,
ready
do
to
they
do.
have pound in South Africa? What do they have there?
What was it? The Rand, Kugelrand.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing. It's quite of a charity thing, and they support elephants. You see, it's the elephant
Yeah.
on the bottle there. So it's a small amount. If you buy a bottle, small amount goes to these organizations that support the elephant trust there.
Yeah, I do like it. I've actually been to South Africa, and the elephants there are really nice, and they are worth preserving, definitely. Definitely worth preserving, because beautiful animals. It's just when you see it, like, whoa, that is a big animal. Yeah. So the next one is a bit of a home game for us. I can still remember when I went to Bruichladdich, which is the producer here, and I came from the wash bags and went into the still room, and I was like looking through the door and I saw a still, and it was like, oh my god, what do they have?
What are they doing?
How do they distill their whiskey? So you want to take that?
Yeah, it's totally different. They got a still called Loman still there. It's a combination of a pot still and a column still. So you get a very high distilled gin. It's much reflux there, and this is an old still from Inverleven distillery. When it was demolished, they took the stills to Bruichladdich. They had the whiskey stills in front of the distillery on Islay for many years, one in front of the building and one in the courtyard. And Mark Renier now, who started the project Waterford Distillery in Ireland, he acquired them, and now the old whiskey stills of Inverleven are on Ireland producing Waterford whiskey, and the old Inverleven Loman still is still there on at Bruichladdich.
Yeah, so I went through that door, saw that, I think they call it Ugly Betty. Yeah, it's not that nice looking still, so I went around the corner and saw the other stills, like, oh, okay, normal stills. But yeah, they do have that cool Lomond still there to produce their gin. Unfortunately, back then in 2015, I was not that interested in gin. So, yeah. The interesting thing about Botanist is they have tons of botanicals.
I wouldn't call it tons. They got 22 botanicals from the island grown on the island of Islay, and I think some more, 31 in total. So the other ones that are imported, but most of the botanicals are there from the Isle of Islay. So they call it Islay Dry Gin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, shouldn't we try it or have a
So
nosy?
I think the Botanist was the first premium gin that I tried. Ooh. A lot of herbs. So this really feels like herbs to me. But what is strange with these herbs is that the herbs, most herbs feel a little bit bitter. You have a bit of bitterness in these herbs, and that's what they left out with this distilling. You have the nice green parts of the herbs and the light parts of the herbs mixed with a bit of a citrusy touch to it, but you don't have any bitterness for me at all.
No bitterness. Herbs, white flowers.
Oh yeah, flowers.
And juniper, of course.
Of course.
You got juniper. It's a gin, of course. It's not dominant, but it's in the foreground. Yes.
You could still call it a gin. The dominant
of
flavor
course.
is still juniper, but you have a lot to explore in that glass.
We said there are so many botanicals in it, but you don't have botanical. It's a round, a very round aroma. The character is very wide and deep, and then it fits together. It's marvelous.
Here someone says, for me, Botanist is a bit unnecessarily astringent. Good profile, however. Astringent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's try.
Let's try.
Cheers.
Cheers. Also beautifully round, and in the taste, more sweetness than I expected from the nose. Also lots of herbs and that tingly feeling that you get from the juniper. And there is just in the flavor, you have so much to explore with these botanicals.
I think it goes. It really. It's not a flash in your mouth. You have it. You have the sweetness, some earthy notes maybe. The floral notes, not grassy notes. I wouldn't call it grassy. Herbs, more darker notes.
What I find these a bit different, because this one is light. You can enjoy it on your side. I would say Botanist is hard to enjoy on the side. It just grabs your attention. It's just there. When you have it in your mouth, it's full flavored. It has 3% or 2% or 3% more alcohol, but so much more flavor.
You don't have the alcohol. I don't have the alcohol there. It's not that I say, wow, this is much alcohol.
But
it's not sharp.
The alcohol transports the flavor.
Yes, but you don't think, oh, it's that a lot of alcohol. I think no. I have a mouthful of aromas. Round, while I don't have this astringent. I think it's a bit. You're right. It's a bit herb. A slightly bitterness in the finish, and a bit. Yeah, if you call it astringent.
Bitterness, I do have to say, for me, I don't have the bitterness.
I think it's a bitterness.
It's a light.
A bitterness of grapefruit, of peels, orange peels, that kind of bitterness, I think.
But what I find strange is when we had the first time, you have a lot of, what's it called, cauliflower? Is it a Camilla? Is the cauliflower? And a little bit a lighter note. This one, I feel, second time trying, I feel more of the, like herbs. It's much more herb intensive. I do have a little bit of the lemon, but not as fresh as the first try I had it.
Okay. I think I have the citrusy notes, but not that much. It's not a citrus. It's more on the herb side.
Yeah.
Flowers, but not
flowers.
Not rose or something like that, but more white flowers.
Yeah. So if you like herbs and flowers and floral, then you can't come around the Botanist. It's called Botanist for a reason.
It is. Yes.
It's called Botanist for a reason.
It is, and they have all those botanicals here on the you see this here. It's in
a bit lower.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh.
Here you have them molded into the glass. Unfortunately, they're in Latin. So Artemisia vulgaris.
Vulgaris sounds.
What do you have? The which one? Mentha spicita. Chamomellum nobile. I don't know.
Chamomile.
Could be cauliflower. Sounds good. So this time I was a bit. I did a bit of forward thinking. I already poured you the gin into your glass.
Did you?
So I can't forget it. Maybe save a bit of ice. We don't have that many cubes of ice now. Did you remember what you had before with one?
I had the signature with it because I said I want to keep the herbs.
And I think when I went then with the ambition just to have the other one. So which one do you want?
I think I tried the ambition.
I tried the
ambition. The ambition to have those citrusy notes from the tonic. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I should have let you pour it.
Tonic.
Everybody has its own way of pouring, of a mixture of gin tonic. So never have someone else pour your tonic. That's not a good idea.
It's like in a martini, you know. You want a dry martini. Somebody says 1 part gin, 1 part vermouth, and the other one says, "Oh, take your glass, put the vermouth in it, and then put it out, put the gin in it. It's dry enough." And somebody says, "Okay, pour the gin in it and put the bottle of the vermouth next to it. That's dry enough.
So how is your mixture of gin tonic? How do you go with it?
I think here, with the tasting, if I want to see how the gin behaves with a tonic, I would say 1-1 or 1-2. If I sit down in the evening, want to relax, want to enjoy my gin and tonic, I would say 1 part of gin and 3 or 4 parts of tonic. Yes.
Yeah, if you go with more tonic, you can have a little bit of longer enjoyment.
Some more gin tonics.
You can have more gin tonics, a bit more refreshing. I do love my gins, so I'm more of a neat guy. I drink my gins rather neat because I just love the botanicals. So I'm really going into the 1-1 or 1-2 ratio. But I can see when it's hot, then and I see the point why you add more. Cheers.
Cheers. So, with the ambitious, you get less of this floral notes. The herbs are more down. It's more citrusy now. I think I would go for the other one.
Actually, went with the ambitions
signature.
again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like the signature because it's more on the herb side.
Yes, I do have the ambition again, and this time, the first time I did like it because it complemented it. This time it feels a little bit more like a fizzy drink. This time it really feels a little bit like a lemonade because it has a fresh, one of these fresh craft lemonades a little bit, but it really feels like a lemonade, like a summer drink where you have lemonade with ice cubes in it, but it doesn't have that, for me, I don't know why, but the juniper is a bit missing here.
Juniper's missing, okay. I think I would...
Oh yeah, it is still there if you concentrate it.
I would like the signature more than the ambitious. Ambition.
Yeah, I should have tried the signature. Yeah,
because it's the herbal notes. That's what makes the botanist the botanist.
Yeah.
It's kept here in the gin tonic.
Yes.
So you find it. You find the botanist in your gin tonic, and I think that's very important. Otherwise, you could buy
a fizzy drink and add some
something
spirit.
else. It's.
I do like it. I mean, I do like a good lemonade in summer, but if you add the ambition, if you go more of the citrus way, then it makes it, I think, less intense. The botanist, when you have it neat, it's just, as I said before, it's not a thing you can enjoy on your side. It's always invading your mouth, giving you 100% botanicals, and here it just goes a bit into the background. Or maybe I just added too much.
Maybe. But it's a fantastic gin, I think. It's so round and an intense, very intense character. You can't say there's another one like the Botanist. I think it's on its own side because the herbs and those flowers, they gave it a very round aroma, and you can say this is in it, this is in it, this is. I couldn't tell you what herbs are in there because they fit so together. That's I think that's the art of producing a gin.
Yeah. It has to fit together. It's interesting how they fit 31 botanicals to make a round gin. I think that's a really hard job to do. But the guys at Bruichladdich, they are pretty smart and they do know their distilling. So that's what they did with. And now we come to a little bit of a topic for discussion. There are things to discuss. There are things not to discuss. I think we already defined what a gin is. 35% neutral alcohol.
35%.
37.5%
And-
neutral alcohol, and the main taste has to be juniper. So next one is dry gin.
Next one is distilled gin.
Oh, distilled gin. Yeah, I always skip the distilled gin.
You don't have to distill gin
Yeah.
to redistill a gin, but most gins are
Yeah.
redistilled, because if you put the botanicals into your neutral alcohol, mature it, and filter it out, it's not a clear spirit. And if you want to have the full aromas of your botanicals, you redistill it
Yeah, sure.
twice, 3 times, 4 times, and that's a distilled gin.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can afterwards put it into a cask if you want to mature it, or you can sweeten it.
Yeah.
If you want to say, want a smooth velvet aroma, velvet mouth feeling, you can put sugar in it.
That's what you then usually. It's not defined by law, but mostly they call it an old Tom gin.
If it's sweetened.
Or if you sweeten it with syrup, then some people call it pink gin. Yeah.
But if you don't do that, and you have less than 0.1 gram per liter sugar in it, you can call it dry.
Yeah.
You could put dry on your bottle, and people love dry, light, something like that on their bottles, and to see, this is the full aroma. The aroma comes only from the botanicals and not from something that is put in it afterwards to sweeten it.
So if you have a light gin, it's not regulated. Everybody can write light gin on it. But I think dry is actually defined. You have to have dry on your gin. I'm not quite sure how that is in the US, but in Europe it's defined 0.1 sugar. So you don't have you have to not add sugar to it. Yeah. And then there are a lot of different things. I think the London gin is also still defined.
The London gin is defined because you don't have to you have to distill your botanicals. You'll have to distill your botanicals, and afterwards you can distill it once or twice or 3 times or however. But after distillation, you're not allowed to do anything else to form the character, if you want to call it London gin. So you can't mature it in a cask, you can't pour anything else in it, add any aromas, sugar. London gin says the character of the gin, the aroma of the gin is there with the distillation.
And it does not necessarily have to be from London.
No.
It can be from somewhere else as well. So this is like I think the gin, the distilled, that I always miss, and then the dry and the London, they are actually defined by law. Then you have the New Western, which is kind of a style of gin where you have a lot of other flavors in it that makes it just a little bit more interesting, like the Amarula, where you have like exotic fruits in it and a lot of citrusy character in it. In the beginning we had the bathtub gin, we just don't distill. It's like the opposite of the distilled one. And the Old Tom with the sweetened. And did I miss anything? Then we still have like navy strength, but with just it just defines the strength of the gin. And in the end we have the reserve gin, which is kind of the aged gin. Did I miss anything? We had pink, we had Old Tom, I think we did have pretty... Cordonal is another word for the bathtub gin. I think we have all the gin then.
Yes, and I think we should try another one.
Yeah, because that was a bit dry for my taste.
So
You have the nice story about the Tanqueray No. 10. Because, yeah, there's always a rumor if you have a number of your... Like the Jack Daniel's old No. 7. But I think they actually putting that forward. But so the old No. 10, where does that come from?
it's not from the 10th recipe they tried.
10
and
botanicals.
It's not 10 botanicals. I think they got eight there. No, they say it's a nice story, and you always need stories. The story goes that until 1941, Tanqueray had their distillery in London, and in 1941, German bombs destroyed many buildings in London, including the distillery, and they decided not to rebuild it in London. I think they knew it's expensive to build in London, so let's go to Scotland. So they rebuilt the distillery in Scotland, and they say the only still that survived the attack was the still with a number 10 on it, a little tiny still, and they took it to Cameron Bridge into the new distillery and used it to distill. So
The tiny 10.
maybe, and this is a bit of a nice story, but the Tanqueray 10 nowadays is still distilled in smaller stills than the Tanqueray London gin, the other Tanquerays. It's a small batch gin distilled in a small still.
Yeah. What I also do love about is the bottle, and you had a nice story about the bottle as well.
Oh, it's not a story. It's not a story. This is fact.
And yeah, it's a story with facts. I mean, the other story was probably true as well.
The Tanqueray No. 10 is based on the recipe of the Tanqueray Dry.
Mhm.
But they add more citrus into it. Citrus peels and orange peels and chamomile to make it more modern style gin. I think it was in 2000 when people said, let's have the gin with more citrusy notes. You got many gins in that time that got citrusy notes, and this is the one from Tanqueray, and you got.
Yeah, it's hard to show on the. Yeah, show in your camera. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, show it in your camera like that probably. Yeah. Is it possible?
You see, you have this here. It looks a bit like a citrus.
Like squeezer?
To squeeze the citrus. a lemon squeezer.
A lemon squeezer.
A lemon squeezer. Let's call it a lemon squeezer.
I think it's called a lemon squeezer.
Yes, to remind. Add those botanicals. Oh no, put it here.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, it's they actually do write it at the front of the bottle. I think they are really proud of their citrus part in their gin.
Yes, but you have it in the nose, the citrus,
Oh yeah.
the lemon, but you have the juniper as well.
Yeah.
You have clear juniper notes there.
I actually wanted to have this as the
Nice dry martini. Yes,
the classical one in here. Unfortunately, I put the number 10, and that is the one that is a bit dancing out of tune with the citrus note in it. But yes, you feel
really
the
like
classical note behind that, and it still is a classical gin with a lot of juniper in it, I would say.
Yes. Let's have a martini. So.
I don't have the ingredients for martini. But yeah, when you feel it, the botanicals here are juniper, coriander, angelica root, licorice, and citrus fruits. So you do have some sweet notes in it with the angelica root. You have the coriander and you have the licorice that give you some of the more, I would say, as you say, darker notes in it. So yeah, nice combination.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, Montreal, Canada.
Another very well distilled gin. That is, I love that the gins are nicely distilled. You don't have the sharp edges. Then you have that tingly note that is a bit numbing on your tongue from the juniper, and then you have the spiciness around from the coriander and from the citrusy note. But in the taste, the citrusy note take a little bit of a backseat, whereas the spicy notes take over.
Yeah. It's a bit of a development. I think it's a bit of development. You don't have it here. You have the full Botanist.
Yeah.
In your mouth, on your palate, and it says, "Wow, I'm here." And here I have the citrus notes, the juniper notes. Citrusy notes go down a bit, and herbs are coming.
For me, it's a bit. Is it a sipping gin, or is it more of a?
Cheers.
Is it a sipping gin, or is it more of a demanding, like a tasting gin on the side gin? Do you have to really focus on it, or is it like something you can enjoy on the side? And I would say something in between, both. I don't know.
I think it's if you like a very strong, heavy gin, neat, you can have it neat. You can say, okay, I have it, but I think it's a classic one. It's a classic one instead of those citrusy notes. It's still a classic gin, but it's such a wonderful standing gin for cocktails, for gin tonic. It's bartenders' preferences. I think many bartenders love the Tanqueray 10 for their gin tonics and for their cocktails. Yeah.
I do like it, and yeah, now that I have it in my mouth, you can, when you have a second sip, you have a third sip, it's pretty easy drinking, pretty easy to enjoy. But when you have the first sip, you can not digest it. Analyze it and feel something in it. So it's something in between. Yeah.
Let's try it with the tonic.
Let's try it. Have you already made up your mind?
Yep, this one.
Oh.
Which tonic? I had the ambitious.
I had the signature before.
I had the ambitious because I said this can stand it. Yes, this is a gin that adds citrus notes because it wants to put this in the foreground.
You still going with the ambitious then?
I think yes.
Yeah, but I'll open you a new one. It's just a bit more fizzy.
Because
I know. Here you go. And I think I'll have that as well. Because I had the signature before.
I think
I was not quite satisfied with that, I
the
think.
signature, it gives you herbal notes, and it takes itself back. I think this is the right one.
The Ambitious? That's
The Ambitious. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, 32 degrees. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Aw.
The Ambitious is definitely the right one. Yeah, the signature was the wrong move in the first video. Yeah, the Ambitious is the right one. And the 30 degrees, is that Canada? Is that like freezing because it's Fahrenheit? Or is that like really hot because it's centigrade? And what I found interesting, I forgot to mention, is when you have the Tanqueray 10 neat, that's 47.3% ABV.
Yeah.
That is quite heavy, but when you have it in your mouth, it's pretty easy. So Tanqueray 10 is a bit dangerous as it is neat, because 47.3% is not to play with just easily, but you can easily drink it. So, and when you have it with a light tonic, with a one that gives you more citrusy notes, it's also very easy, has a nice juniper note. It's still, I would say, a mixture between a classical gin tonic and the light gin tonic that you can enjoy in a 32 degrees wonderful sunny day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great for this gin tonic.
If I have 32 degrees, I would add a few more ice cubes.
Oh, we don't have that here in Germany. I think we had about, don't know, 20, 25, 26.
Yeah, something like that.
Day,
Around
but
there.
now it's dark outside. I think wouldn't be that
Yeah.
much. 15, 16 thing in the moment.
Yeah. But this is a bit dangerous. It just cries, yeah, sip me again. I'm fresh. I'm nice. I taste nice. Give me more.
Yes, I think so. I think our partner is this one here. I would wish they had done a little more. It would push more. I think it's they did it because they wanted a tonic that goes back and you have the gin in the foreground. But here, I think I would love to have a tonic that it's a bit more on the more. I don't know. I think I had it with a tonic that has more spicy notes, more citrusy notes, and this was great for that.
You think the number 10 can handle a bit of a stronger tonic?
Yes, it can. Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. That is, yeah, I think if you even have the London one, it can handle even a stronger one. Yes. The classical gins can handle stronger tonics.
And tonics with more gas in it.
Yes.
It's a bit.
Yeah, I do like it. But it could handle a stronger tonic.
Let's put it.
Yeah.
Don't drink too much.
Yeah, but I think we are on what is it now, the 14th glass now that we have on our lips. So this is a bit of a demanding.
Summer days right now in Canada. Oh, Canada.
I've been in summer in Canada. A lot of mosquitoes. A lot of mosquitoes in Canada in summer. I've been through Quebec and Saskatchewan and.
If there are mosquitoes, you do have to drink gin and tonic.
Luckily, I've just been driving, and it's just the matter that the windshield wipers, there were no fluid left. Yeah. So talking about far away, the last one. You've been to Harris as well. I think not that many people go to Harris. I've been to Harris as well. There's a video about the Harris, I Love Harris distillery. It's a very, very remote island of the Outer Hebrides. So my experience was couldn't go from, what was it, Skye to Harris, so went around to the mainland. Had you take the other ferry.
Yeah.
So how was your trip? Did it work?
Yes, it worked because I took the trip from Barra. I went from.
The very other way.
I went to the most southerly island of the Outer Hebrides, and it was a bit like island hopping from one island to the other up.
What is
to
that?
Harris.
South-Oost, North-Oost,
Barra,
Barra.
and went up.
I thought I was doing the exotic tour with Skye and Harris and Lewis, and you were doing Usk and Barra. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was amazing. And this was, I think, 10 years ago. And we did it with a tent.
Oh! So that is a nice trip. That is a trip to remember.
Yes, it was. But there was no distillery on Harris to that time.
No, okay.
Yes.
So have you been to the distillery then
To
later?
the distillery, not. No.
Oh,
Not
okay.
yet. No.
Yeah, it's a nice distillery. Very close to the coast, and they do have whiskey now.
They'll start in September with a whiskey. They haven't the first release of their whiskey will be in September.
Oh yeah, they don't have a whiskey right
You
now.
haven't read my news.
I've been to the distillery and I talked to them. So the whiskey is coming out this year, and they're like, how do you know that? And I was like, just guessing. Yeah, they're still coming out this year. I was just yeah. They have something to try at the distillery. I've tried their new
Yes,
make.
and it's I think how old is 7 years, 8 years, something like that already. So they don't start with a 3-year-old whiskey as many new distilleries do. But
they do have a nice story about their still as well. They have a nice name. I'm sorry, I can't remember
it's
the name.
A Gaelic name.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It was the still for the gin is named after a small woman on the island who argued with the American investor who came to the island and built a distillery, and she argued with him, but they became best friends. There's always a story behind the gins.
And this is a gin that says we are a distillery on Harris, and it's a gin that's for the community. They do when they release their first whiskey, they have it with a party for the local community, and on the other day they will sell it to the rest of Europe or the world.
How did they call it? I think they call themselves a social or community distillery. What was the name? Something about. So they really are like a community, a distillery for the locals. So they don't have an like imported master distiller with a big name who comes there and makes the whiskey, but they actually they actually taught their people to make the whiskey, and they they're learning, and they do have experts coming in, but the local people, this is really a whiskey from not the whiskey. This is a gin, from the local people. I'm talking about the whiskey as well. But there has been a bit of a discussion about the gin from us earlier because of the botanicals. We have the sugar seaweed, the juniper berries, English coriander seeds, various types of pepper, orange peels, angelica root, cassia bark, iris, and licorice roots. And the discussion was about the seaweed.
Yes, the sugar cap. It's called sugar cap, and the sugar cap. It's
from a loch.
No, it's not from a loch. It's
loch
from the Atlantic.
The loch can be salt water and can be sweet water. So the discussion is it a loch like an inward loch with sweet water or an outward loch with salt water?
And I think it's from the Atlantic Ocean.
You think it's...
So it's not from a loch inside the island. I think it's from the Atlantic. But we'll have to phone them and ask them, I think.
Okay, but there is a guy. Yeah, I have a picture. I've actually had the distillery video. So everybody who has the distillery video and watched it, I think I have the information in there. If they not lie to me at the distillery, but they have a guy,
A diver there.
a diver
They have a
there,
diver
and
there.
there's a nice picture of him with a lot of seaweed, and he goes down, harvests it in a responsible way, so it doesn't.
Yeah, but it's seaweed and not lochweed.
It's seaweed, yeah. So from the taste, yeah, let's have a taste first. The taste, when you have, when you say marine flavors, then you first think of like phenols, iodine. This doesn't have the phenols nor the iodine. It doesn't have it at all.
Because we are used.
Yeah.
If we hear maritime
Yeah.
character, maritime notes, we know this from Talisker
Yeah.
and other whiskies that
Yeah.
say, oh, it's a maritime character, and so they tell us it has to be iodine.
Iodine.
Iodine. Oh, okay, sorry. Or salt in it, and this is not what
Yeah.
this tells me. It's a freshness here.
Yeah.
A
In the nose, I
freshness,
don't
but-
have any maritime notes. I don't have the salt as well. This has just a lot of citrus character, I would
And
say.
a sweetness. It's,
And a sweetness.
A sweetness from this sugar cap.
Yeah. And grapefruit and a little bit of a floral note. No, not sweetness, definitely.
Sweetness, yes.
And citrusy note, but
But a freshness from, I think maybe, it's a bit of coriander, I think. Those herbal notes.
mhm.
Coriander.
What I do know about this and is that the nose is very different to the taste. So let's have a try. Cheers.
Cheers. We'll have to try. Sorry.
And there you have it. You have a little bit of a salty note. And that supports the sea part of the seaweed. But still, it has a bit of a sugar, sweet note to it, sugar kelp. A lot of juniper in it. A lot of a good amount of citrusy notes in it. And when you have it long in your mouth, a bit of
sweet, dark herbal notes.
Yeah. Look.
It's, I don't get much citrusy notes.
You don't get much?
No lemon or orange. No.
Strangely enough, I have a lot of citrus in the nose. In the taste, I do have more of a grapefruit and more of the lemon oiliness in it. When you have like that zesty, when you have where do you use that lemon oil in? Is it in baking or I don't know where it is. And for me, it feels like someone, you know, when you have a garnish in your gin tonic, that has that feeling or that taste to it. That dash of that peel that goes into your glass. That what I have, but not the like fresh, juicy, citrusy note to it. A wonderful gin that I wanted to have in the end because it's just a bit of a twist to it, because it has it has a bit of a different feel to it. It just has, with that seaweed, you have strange other flavors in your mouth as well.
It's a dark. For me, it's darker than the other ones. You get bright citrusy notes here, and the herbal notes here.
Yeah.
They are herbs, but more fresh herbs and flowers. And here you got more those licorice roots, angelica roots.
And the mouthfeel is different. And the mouthfeel is just it's all sitting in your mouth, and a little bit of a damp note to it. It's strange.
I think it says infused with sugar kelp. So if you infuse it after distillation, and the sugar kelp, I think it's called sugar kelp. So maybe that's this.
They actually did tell me what they do with the sugar kelp, but I have to say I forgot it. It's inside my video. But they do have the botanicals in the normal way of using. I'm not quite sure if the sugar kelp is in the end, or if they have it like in a separate tank or something. There is something. It's infused. It's different.
It's infused. It's not with distilled with all the other botanicals.
Yeah.
So I think that may be this mouth feeling you have. This sweetness, special kind of sweetness.
Yeah, that's what they actually did like about the Isle of Harris gin, that they have their locality, and that's the sugar kelp sugar kelp. Yeah, that's what makes it kind of unique. But what I also do like about the bottle is, I know you like the look of the bottle, is I like how it lies in my hand, because you have two spots here that are like a bit into the bottle, here and there, and that's exactly where you grab the bottle. And I do like that, because you have all the other bits here, and just two flat bits on the bottle, and just lies perfectly in your fingers.
And these are the waves from the Atlantic Ocean, where the sugar kelp is grown.
Yeah, it also looks nice. Yeah, it looks really nice, but it just lies in your hand so smoothly. And when you are on the Isle of Harris, on the Isle of Lewis, Lewis is like two parts of the island. It's like the same body of
same island.
Some island, but two parts are called differently. They do actually have it as a water bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful bottle.
The gin producers really have a big competition of who has the nicest and coolest bottle. Like, you have the waves and perfectly fitting in your hand. You have, it looks like a bit of a lamp from the 18th century, plus the a lemon squeezer, and then you have the very sharp edges with the Latin letters molded into it. So the bottles really have like a competition for itself. I do like it.
Yeah, it's a nice thing, and you have to give a statement, and to say, okay, everybody can see, oh, this is the Harris gin because I know the bottle.
Yeah, give me the one with the waves, not the lamp one.
Should we try the Harris gin with a gin tonic, or shouldn't we?
Yes, and the thing is, we did judge in the German one that we shouldn't. This is like a gin that is.
It's a sipping gin.
It's a sipping gin.
I would say it's a sipping gin, and.
Do you remember what you had before as a tonic?
I think I had the signature, because I said I don't want too much citrusy notes here.
Do you want to try? Maybe the other one is better.
Yes.
You don't have to if you don't want to. It's your like 16th glass. So
Berry and Brothers Rut number 3. Okay, I don't really know.
But you had the
which one
ambition, and you want the signature now.
Signature.
Yeah. Okay.
Too many glasses.
Yeah, I think if you have a gin tasting, I think I had the signature before, and now I'm taking the ambition. And I think if you go with the gin tasting, you do the tonic. Don't go with 4, go with 3. That was the first mistake when I planned this. I didn't plan for the tonic, so that's why we're having 1.5 hours today, because of Yeah, tonic.
So I don't have any citrusy notes here. It's full herbs and I have the juniper. Yeah. And this is the gin tonic for people that say I wanted a real strong gin tonic, not that easy drinking citrusy thing, but a very heavy strong one, because the herbal notes and the tonic, they make it very how you call it? It's a bit a dark one. I wouldn't call it bitter. It's not bitter. No, it is
But
not.
it has these strong notes in it. Yeah.
Strong herbal notes. Yes.
For me, I did use the Ambition, and I do like the Ambition more with the Harris one, because it has that balance. If you have to have the mixture right. If you add too much Ambition, it's just a fizzy drink, and if I have the right mixture here, and it's nice because you have the right balance between the spicy notes, or not the spicy notes, the hefty notes, the darker notes, and the citrusy notes from the Ambition. I have the nice mixture.
I think this is wonderful. I like it. I like the earthy notes. It gives me earthy dark notes, herbal notes. But I'd rather like it neat.
Yeah. The thing is with the Harris gin, it's better neat.
It's still
better neat.
It goes very well with the tonic, but me personally, I like gin neat. Not everybody loves it. Most people say no, never without tonic. But I think I would sip it neat.
Yeah, there are not that many people who like it neat, but with all the variations within the gin neat community, I think, is growing. Yeah, it's just for me, it's better neat. The interesting thing is the guy who produced the tonics, he said, "Oh, I do love it with all my tonics." He just he loves his tonics.
He loves his tonics.
He loves his tonics. But he actually did love the gin as well, because it works so well with all the tonics. I do think this is a very special gin that is neat, savored best.
And I think those special notes you have here from the kelp, you don't have it. I don't have it in the gin tonic. This slightly saltiness, it's lost.
It's lost.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the why sometimes I do like my Botanist in a gin tonic, because it just works that well. But you have some nuances of the Botanist that are definitely lost.
Yes.
But the strong notes of the Botanist just work that well within the tonic.
So people just try.
The thing is with gin, I thought like with whiskey you have so much variation because all the cask and all the ways to produce and all the types of whiskey. With the gin you have so many botanicals, then you can all mix it with so many different kind of tonics. You can have different portions of mixtures, then you can still do garnish. There's so many possibilities to find your spot and your most flavorsome gin tonic or pure tonic.
Yeah. So what's the result?
Yeah. Do you want to give a
No.
like you don't want
No.
people don't like that.
I don't want to judge and say.
For me, it just really
first,
changed.
Second, third.
For me, it really changed a lot. For me, this time, the Botanist was the first. It just... Usually, I would have guessed the Botanist was my first. Second was my Harris now. Third was the Amarula, and then Tanqueray. The thing is, the problem is they are so different, and you really can't compare it.
Yeah, no, you can't compare it. It's if you have four children and say, whom do you like best? Oh.
Yeah, you can't really say that. But yeah,
no,
it's.
I think for a gin tonic, I would go with one of those. Yes, this one as a neat one, and I would have some experiments with the Amarula. I think that would be nice.
The Amarula is really a bit also dancing out of tune. This one is dancing out of tune because it has that strange dark note in it. The Amarula is one of the exotic ones. And that's why I wanted to have it.
Yes.
Because it's sweet,
yes, it
exotic
is. And,
one.
just try other fillers.
Yeah.
Try it in a cocktail, not in a martini. No, I think
that would be just like a strange martini. Yeah.
But with other fillers, yes.
I do have to say, I haven't had a dry martini in a long time. I do have to try the dry martini, man. That really remind me that the dry martini is there.
I think a martini with a botanist would be great.
That would be a great idea. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So do you have anything else to? I think for the voting from the chat is a bit unfair. Oh, it actually got
Tanqueray.
some. The people do love the Tanqueray, but we only have 3 people to judge because
I think no, nobody wants to vote.
Yeah, the thing is, we don't have that many people on Whisky.com for a gin tasting,
for
but
live.
yeah. So
because what's the time in Canada now?
I think it would be afternoon or something like that.
Oh, good time for a gin tasting.
8 hours, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But we did have a lot of people also like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, what are you doing? You're having a tasting with you. Yeah. So do you have anything else like? Is it totally different to the tastings you had, or?
Usually, when I give tastings, I try to tell people what a gin can be. So, try to show a gin from different categories, to lead them through the different categories. Try a bathtub. There are bathtub gins.
Okay.
Try a distilled gin, a London gin, a sweet gin, a gin I wouldn't call gin because I have to look for the juniper.
the new
yes,
Western.
So this kind of taste, I love to have this kind of tasting.
Yeah. So yeah. Then, Petra, thank you very much for joining us in the tasting.
Thank you very much.
You've told me a few new great things, and we still have to look up for the Harris gin if the seaweed is grown in lock or in the Sweetwater lock. Yeah, and yeah. So thank you very much for watching. And if you like this video and you have people who are interested in gin, then please feel free to share this video with your friends. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.